welcome back to Queer Cosplayers Family Kitchen for the continuing adventures of May the 4th month. So, last week we created, I thought, a pretty unique spin on what was supposed to be cuisine from Alderaan. I never would have expected it to be spicy, but this week we are traveling to Pasaana and making some Pasaana Battercakes. So I've looked through the recipe, and this is going to be a very interesting take on waffles. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, sweetie, so first thing you're going to need is a good-sized mixing bowl, which we have. Then we are going to start out with our dry ingredients. And like any waffle recipe, we are going to start with flour. So we are going to need 2 cups of flour. Go. Then we are going to, let's see here. Oh, okay, start out with 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Make sure I get my teaspoon, ready here. One and 2. All right. Next, we are going to be using a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right. And last but not least, a 1/4 teaspoon of both ginger and nutmeg. Ginger. Oh, I love these smells together so much. There we go. So once all of your dry ingredients are together, we are going to, there we go, take a whisk and just whisk them all together until they are combined. Cut. Alright, sweeties, so we've got our dry ingredients whisked, and when you stop, you're going to want to make sure there's kind of a well in there to put your wet ingredients in, which we've got right here. So we are going to start out with 1 3/4 cups coconut milk. Now, I have never really worked with coconut milk before, so this is going to indeed be interesting. Next, we're going to add 2 large eggs beaten together. There we go. Then we are going to add 3 tablespoons of honey. Now, I'm going to demonstrate a little trick here for working with honey. Whenever you need to put some in, it can be very difficult to kind of get all of it out, or just takes a long time. So what you can do is coat whatever you're using with cooking spray. Alright. This will make it nice and slick so it goes right out. Okay. There's 1. Yep. And you see it plopped right out of there. 2. There we go. Yep, gonna reapply the cooking spray just a bit. Then 1 more. There we go. Yep, plopped right out again. Perfect. All right, so next we are going to be adding a little something I haven't worked with before. This is called pandan extract. Just need to get it open. There we go. As I said, I have never worked with this before, and that is a little tricky to get open. There we go. Got it. All right. Oh yeah. So this is going to have a nice green color. So we are going to be adding 2 tablespoons of this stuff. So again, well, I suppose it's more Star Trek that is known for green women, but this is definitely going to give these waffles a very, very unique color. All right. Then, last but not least, because these are waffles, we are going to be adding some traditional vanilla extract. So once again, you're going to want to put about a teaspoon in there. There we go. Now, using a nice stiff spoon, you are going to want to mix the ingredients until they are just combined. All right, sweeties. Well, this definitely has an unusual green color, so this is going to be very interesting. So before we put it in the waffle maker, I've got 2 tablespoons of butter, and we are going to pour that in. That bowl is still kind of hot. Then we are just going to gently fold the butter in. So once again, if you're folding it in, you're kind of scraping along the bottom and pulling it up top. Kind of like so. Give it a couple of more turns. All right, there we go. So once again, I've got my waffle maker out, and I have a pretty straightforward Cuisinart waffle maker. So if you're using a model like this, there's a dial down here on the bottom that you simply set whatever temperature you want. Then when the indicator light turns green, that means it is ready to go. So we are going to pour some batter in here. Get that last little drizzle off. Cover it up. Then, the indicator light has turned red, so we will know that the waffle is done when it turns green again. And you're just basically going to repeat this with all of the batter. Sweeties, these turned out beautifully. So much with traditional waffles, I'm sure in Star Wars it is perfectly fine to put the traditional butter and syrup on them. So we are just going to slather a little bit of that on and drizzle on some syrup. Now there is also another kind of chicken-based recipe in here that you can make chicken and waffles with while doing this. Although I gotta admit, I'm one of those people where I really have to wonder how the hell did that actually become a thing, and why do people love it so much? I'll never know. But these turned out fantastically, and if Leslie Knope were a Jedi, I'm sure she would be thrilled by these. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to our two sponsors for this month, Letters and Lucy and Creepy Goth. But I am now going to enjoy these, and I hope you enjoy them as well. Bye, sweeties. Mwah.